Sorry, what the f*** is Allsvenskan? Hello, and welcome to What the Fuck is Allsvenskan? My name's Andy Woodfine, and joining me today is the only person on this podcast who can legitimately wear a headband whilst playing football. It's Michael Woodfine, everybody.
Shaba.
Shaba. Oh,
Shaba.
that's a greeting.
Brorsan.
And
Okmanen for Neil.
Okmanen. Smooth. Yeah. Nailed it. Yeah. And Neil, who looks like he's about to start the Tour de France. Not quite sure what's going on. Is it because Mike pulled out his guitar you felt left out?
I felt like I needed props.
Yeah.
So I just put a helmet and some glasses on.
Love it. Well, we're actually joined today.
I'm going to say Guten Tag to everyone because I'm expecting Julian Nagelsmann to come into Spurs at any time soon, by the way.
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful. It's the hope that kills you, Neil. Today I made a mistake. We're not joined by Neil. We're joined by the shell of Neil Cook, because I believe your soul left your body 20 minutes into the Tottenham Newcastle game.
My soul left my body on 8 minutes. By 20 minutes, it had been delivered to the devil himself in fine packaging. I don't know.
Christian Romero bringing your soul across the river of the dead.
He got a lot of shit for that game, Christian Romero, but nearly every goal went in down the left-hand side, and guess who was there? Mr. Sir Eric fucking Diabolical himself. But yeah, anyway, let's not talk about Tottenham. Don't need it.
I mean, this is definitely in danger of turning into a Tottenham Arsenal podcast if we carry on, but I mean, there is so much just joy at the moment of watching Tottenham play as an Arsenal fan, so, you know.
I'm gonna get my popcorn out for that Arsenal City game. That's what I'm waiting for. I don't care about Tottenham's season. That went to shit a long time ago. Yeah, that fucked off with Conte.
You're just a professional hater now.
That's all I've got left, and I'm gonna bloody love it. I was gonna go full Kevin Keegan on us then, but I'll do it. That's really like no Swedish fan is gonna understand what I'm talking about. But I definitely don't need any more Newcastle references today either. But let's just move on, shall we? But Arsenal City, that's going to be hilarious.
Let's move on.
Get your popcorn
we're not going to discuss Arsenal City. That's far too much of a sensitive subject. Let's discuss the weird and wonderful world of Allsvenskan instead, and let's start off with the highlights of the week. Mike, what was your highlight of the week?
I'm not sure if I'm going to get away with this one. But here goes anyway. A former AIK player. Now get this. Scored 2 goals against Tottenham in the first 20 minutes on the weekend.
We literally just said we'll stop talking about it. It was 20 seconds ago.
It is Allsvenskan related, obviously.
It's not, though, is it? It's not.
Well, AIK, they play in Allsvenskan. And they've got another young player there for Sahi, and if he can come to the Premier League and score goals against Tottenham, I mean, it's good times.
Oh, Neil, do me a favour. Take your Tour de France gear off. I can't take you seriously. I mean, it's hard enough.
You can't see the tears.
I'm going to do my non-football highlight of the week first.
Okay, what's that?
As a 39-year-old man... No. Stop it. I'm not going to wear spandex for anyone. But as a 39-year-old man, I learned to do a bunny hop at the weekend, and I'm quite proud of myself. So now I've got all the gear and very little idea. Thank you. But now I'm going to take this gear off to go through my football highlight of the week. If you just give me 1 second, everyone. Chatter amongst yourselves, people.
Well, yeah, congratulations on the bunny hop. You must have had a very good teacher. Someone, wise.
Annoyingly, yeah.
It was me, everybody. I taught him. Yeah. There you go. Now we recognise you again, Neil. Welcome back.
But I'm going to go back to my football highlight of the week now.
Oh, yeah. Hit us.
which is probably more relevant to a football podcast, but you never know where this wonderful podcast will take you. So my football highlight or low light, depends how you want to see it, is that the commentators during the Malmö Norrköping game were bloody stupid. Like,
Oh, they were dreadful.
I don't know if I just don't know where they got them from. Like, at one point, one of the commentators went, "Oh, that was a Slavi pass, like a bad pass, or a specific way of describing a bad pass." And the other commentator went, "Oh, could you please explain to me what you mean by that? It's such an interesting saying. Could you what exactly do you mean by that?" So
Was the match
what,
particularly dull at this point?
it was a good match.
Yeah, it
was-
wasn't
that's what I
actually
thought.
dull. They were trying to make it more
Yeah.
dull than it was.
It was. But the other thing that annoyed me more than anything else, during live football, there are often other games going on at the same point.
Yep.
And the match you are watching will often give you an update if someone has scored during the match that you're not watching.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what occurs is that there is a ping, so everyone can look away if they want to avoid the score. And then the score will come up with who scored and what team they've scored for. And then it will disappear after a few seconds. And then everyone who's turned away to not see it will start watching the match they're actually watching again.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
the commentators did not understand this. So the ping would come, the score would come up, and then the commentator would be like, "Oh, Värnamo have just scored. It's not looking good for AIK." Or, "Oh, BP are going to get their first win of the season." It's like, what are you doing? I knew this when I was 7 years old, not to talk about this.
Neil, you've gone full Homer Simpson. Do you know what really grinds my gears? Honestly,
Wasn't grind
that
my
was a
gears. What was that Homer? I thought it was Family Guy.
I thought it was Futurama. I thought it was Bender or somebody.
Maybe they've all done it.
Probably.
You could be right. I mean, we are living in a simulation, so it's probably all of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, thank you, Neil, for brightening on our day with your highlight, low light of the week. But I agree with you. That is madness. The ping is there for a reason. Discovery Plus, sort it out. I mean,
Can we save the ping?
Right,
Yeah.
save the ping. We're all itching, we don't want to get the Bromma score before we watch the game. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we don't want
So,
spoilers. No
That's the
spoilers.
point.
no spoilers. Well, my highlight of the week, how am I going to phrase this? It surprisingly, benching shit keepers actually works. So I don't know if you guys saw, but our dear friend Oscar Linnea for Bromma got benched. Well, not even benched. He got dropped totally out the squad for an 18-year-old kid. And they beat Dandruff Village and kept a clean sheet. Spoiler alert for Mike's review. But Värnamo also dropped their horrific goalkeeper who's made, I think, 4 or 5 errors leading directly to goals. Who's got a name I can't pronounce, or Neil can't pronounce either.
Definitely not.
Viertikovic.
Thank you, Mike. Using your Russian.
You sounded
accent,
really
so
Russian, Mike.
it was well played.
Duh.
Yeah, he's
Good job.
a spy. He's a spy.
Send him
But
home.
they beat AIK and kept a clean sheet as well. So I would never have guessed it. But if you've got a really crap goalkeeper, you put them in for someone who's slightly competent, then it actually works.
Who would have
But,
guessed?
who would have guessed? But this was quite tough for me because we can't go any further in this podcast without saying a little thank you to Oscar Linnea for all the memories. I mean, he created so much content for this podcast. I don't know, man. I'm gonna miss him. It's tough on me, man. Honestly, I look forward to watching him fall over when the ball rolled past him, or misjudge a cross. Or Oscar, thank you for the memories. I'm gonna miss you, mate. Sorry, guys. I need to just collect myself now.
You need a moment there.
Was your highlight of the week that a bad goalkeeper died and got?
Wait, is anyone
Someone
sure he's still
died that I
alive
didn't know
right
about,
now?
and you're celebrating it in your highlight of the week on a podcast?
He's still alive, I swear.
Oh
Yeah,
God.
he's...
Okay.
Sorry,
Mm.
you didn't get the eulogy then. Well, it wasn't a eulogy because he's alive. But
That's-
no, it's just sad. I'm just going to
I
miss
guarantee-
him, Neil.
If he turns up dead tomorrow, we know who the prime suspect is right now.
It's not me,
Just
it's
telling
Neil,
them.
because I'm the one trying to keep him alive. He's free content for our podcast. I mean,
You've already
he's-
written his eulogy for his funeral. So
I
mate,
guarantee
he
half
is...
of our listeners have already like Googled on their phone like death of Allsvenskan goalkeeper.
death of a clown.
Just
You
for
can't
Oscar
do that.
Linnea's family, he is still alive.
Okay.
not-
Good to know.
But his career is very much dead. So I don't know if that's the same. Sorry. But no,
got
I
bounce
mean, I'm
back.
going to miss him. Not sure he's going to bounce back, but we'll see. Anyway, enough eulogies. Let's go into the match of the week, which was decided by Neil because he is now a hardcore Malmo fan. And Malmo Norrköping was our match of the week, which actually, thankfully, because it was probably the best game this week. Neil, how did it feel watching Malmo play?
Yeah, a good team. How was that?
I felt a bit like a Man City fan.
Well, a 12-year-old
was-
from Saudi Arabia.
Well, not necessarily that, but it was more watching a team in pale blue strips absolutely dominate another team because they've got much more money and better players, while at the same time having zero emotional attachment to the team. Yeah, which is how every Man City fan must feel because no one's actually
I'm
a Man
not
City
sure.
fan.
There are about 12 blokes in Manchester that might disagree with that statement. But
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, that's
Liam Gallagher.
how I felt.
well, it's good for your sanity, Neil. You've got a team that you can actually watch and like expect to win, and not, I think it's good for your mental health, mate. But I mean, we can't go any further in this conversation about Malmö Norrköping without talking about the most like surprising headline of the week, and that is Sergio Pena got caught drink driving and speeding, and yet still waltzes into the starting lineup for the Malmö Norrköping game. I mean, spare a thought for Martin Olsen, who turned up a couple of minutes late to training and got suspended from training and matches because he didn't live up to the coach's standards. So I want to know, what are Rydström's coach's standards? I mean, did he get the team together on day one of the season? Like, right, gather round, lads. All right, as you know, I'm in charge. Here are the rules. This is how we're going to go. It's my way or the highway. Don't turn up late to training. Show some respect to your teammates and everybody involved with the club. No drink driving, apart from you, Sergio, you naughty bugger. Look at you. You love a tipple, don't you? I mean, does he just single him out because he's an absolute baller? Or does he just, I'm not sure. But yeah, drink driving, walk straight into the lineup.
But I think like this, and this might be a bit of a controversial sort of. I'll play a bit of devil's advocate anyway, if we put it that way. That because Olsen, he got benched because he was late to training. Yeah. Okay, and that so I think it's two, in my world, it's two different things. One is an outside of work thing, and one is a inside of work thing. So if I got done for drink driving, I wouldn't expect to get suspended from my job for 2 weeks. But if I turn up late for work, I expect to get some sort of disciplinary action against me. And I think that footballers, they don't get a chance to live their lives. I'm not saying you should go out and drink drive, but it's a very different sort of work.
Was that his excuse?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Your
I was
advice,
just living my life. I was just out there living my life.
Yeah, but what? No.
Hey, come on! I'm just living my life out here.
Yeah, but no, I meant more like I don't think they should be scrutinised for everything they do outside of the football club. I think that should be that's a job for the police to sort out, and turning up late for training is a job for your manager to sort out. So I don't necessarily disagree with him starting.
to be fair, they interviewed Rydström before the game, and he was pretty much saying along the similar lines. He handled it really well. He's fast becoming my favourite manager in the league. Fast becoming. He was already my favourite manager in the league. Get him to Hammarby. No, I'm just kidding. But Rydström, he handled it really well because they obviously Discovery Plus went for the body blow and asked him about this for the game, and he basically said, "Well, to be honest, I'm the coach. I'm in charge of the dressing room. So what happens in and around the team in the dressing room, that's my decision. And what happens outside of that is the club's decision. And the club have punished him, so it's not my job to punish him." So I thought he handled it quite well, and he's along similar lines to you, Neil. I do get that train of thought as well. I mean, it is a bit surprising that it happened so shortly. Like, he walked into the lineup so shortly after the event. Usually you'd expect him to miss a game or something. But yeah, no, he handled it really well, and obviously he didn't seem to bother Malmo one bit because they just cut through.
I was wondering if it was going to rock the boat a little bit. If it was going to have an effect on the dressing room, but it didn't seem to. Although,
no.
I mean, it is quite serious. He was going like 70 kilometers an hour in a 30 zone 2 times over the limit, and like if that happened to a regular person, that would be like it could be a 2-year suspended prison sentence in Sweden.
Mike, he was just living his life, as Neil said.
Yeah, he's just living his life. Come on.
But you brought up the Discovery Plus interview there with Rydström at the start. But did anyone catch the one with Vecchia? It was really late on in the evening, quite a long time after the match had finished. It was quite intense. Like, they had the female program leader trying to sort of poke the bear, and then some short little guy in the middle. I know all about that, to be fair, being the short little guy in the middle. But he then starts asking Vecchia directly about Pena and what his viewpoints were and so on and so forth. And I think Discovery Plus, they're just desperate for everyone to stop coming out to talk to them because they just keep asking really awkward questions at really inappropriate times.
I swear they have like an office pool at the back, and they get together before the game, like, right, how can we ruin these people's day now?
Yeah.
I mean, if they win, let's ask them this question. If they lose, let's dig here. And it's like a competition of who can put someone in the most awkward position possible.
Yeah, it's the same with the half-time interviews. They choose the shit player or somebody's made a mistake.
They choose the guy who scored the goal and the guy who's had the worst match. Yeah. And then they kind of put them one after each other. And it's
awkward.
Very awkward.
Yeah, it's strange. But going into the game, what was your impression? Who was your man of the match, Neil?
Wait, could I just say pause here? We haven't done sum up the game 10 words or less yet. So maybe we should do that, then go into more game, then to man of the match.
Anyway, before we get deeper into this football extravaganza of Malmo and Norrköping, I've been waiting literally all week to find out what your 10 words or less reviews are.
I can see the bitterness in Neil's eyes from last week still.
I don't even want to be involved in this crap. Like, last week was such a con. I got conned out of it. So I don't
use 20 words.
But they were. What have you had? You've had nonsense. The first week was proper rubbish, followed by more rubbish, and I think you've won. Like, I don't know. Anyway,
it's 2-1 to Mike on the scoreboards. Neil, now's your chance. Look at this.
I have got 10 words or less, but in protest, I don't think I want to give it to you.
Okay, easy points.
I can't have that.
Come on, Neil. Step up. Give us your 10 words or less review. Let's go.
All right. Here we go. Norrköping fans, more psychic than Paul the Octopus.
Wasn't expecting that.
That was not what I was expecting, and I'm going to need some context for this because that is.
Don't you remember Paul the Octopus?
Yeah,
Mike knows who Paul the Octopus is.
Yeah. I know.
He predicted like the World Cup, didn't he?
Yeah, there was a couple of World Cups back. I can't remember.
It was a Euros. Then they brought him back for the next World Cup, and then he died.
Yeah, he was this octopus that was had a talent for picking who was going to win which match in the World Cup.
Mm.
So
and the
my context is that
fans?
no Norrköping fans turned up to this match. So obviously they've got a bit of Paul the Octopus in them, and they knew exactly what was going to happen.
Oh, mate, that is brilliant. Well done. Well played.
If I don't win this week, I'm not coming back next week. Well, I know he ain't going to beat it.
Mike, your chance. See if we can kick Neil off this podcast once and for all.
Okay.
What's your 10-word or less review?
Immediately, I'm going to wind Neil up a little bit here. I've got 13 words.
Nope, see, I won already. Not having that. Disqualified. Get him out.
I could maybe get a half point if I win this.
No.
Or,
he won last week because he's your brother, and that can be the only possible reason.
Oh God, I can't wait to hear this. Please be good, Mike. I'm literally on tenterhooks here. Hit us with your 13-word review.
Okay. Hugo Larsson. The Emirates is chanting. Gimme, 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 a ginger from Sweden.
Wait a second, right? For a start.
Yep.
That's
great,
a Tottenham song.
It's an ABBA song.
Okay, but I don't remember ABBA singing about gingers from Sweden. So it's a Tottenham song. And then,
my God,
secondly,
that is sensational.
Oh, shut up. Secondly, he hasn't summed up anything. There's nothing about the match in that, is there?
Yeah,
He's just
summing up. That Hugo Larsson
no.
is so good, and he should come to Arsenal.
No, but that's not what you've said, is it? You've summed up the match by singing a song about Hugo Larsson. You could have sung a song about anybody. It wouldn't have mattered. But what he's done is he's just chucked a Spurs song in there to wind me up, and he's just tried to get a player to come to Arsenal. They're almost for Bournemouth, by the way.
I'm playing to my audience here.
Yeah,
to the judges.
Seriously, not coming back. I'm not coming back if he wins
But seriously, Hugo Larsson, please come to Arsenal if you're listening to this. Did you see that intricate 1-2 he did around the outside of the box and then got through and then absolutely skied it? Now that is pure Emirates ball.
Special.
Oh yeah, that's what we want from our midfielders at Arsenal. And he's got so much Arsenal DNA in him. He even actually looks a bit like my nephew, which also happens to be Andy's son. That's just the level of Arsenal DNA. Granted, he's only 6. Hugo Larsson? No, Andy's son. But they look very similar.
Yeah, they look worryingly similar, except my son's not 6'4" yet, but he might be. He's only 6. But yeah, no, okay. I'm at a loss now because I very much enjoyed that, Mike, and that was very appealing for me as an Arsenal fan. But I also don't want to lose Neil as a friend, so I'm going to give the winner this week to
Wait,
Mike.
do you negotiate with
3-1
terrorists?
lead to Mike.
Yeah, no. Wait a minute. Can't we at least put this out to some of the people that listen? What are you doing? Oh, mate. All right,
I'll do this. If enough people message in to overturn that result, then I'm not going to be like Trump. I will admit defeat. So if enough people message to say that Neil's review was better than Mike's, then we'll overturn the result, and I'll give you an update on next week's podcast. Otherwise, it's 3-1 to Mike, and yeah, we might be auditioning for new people to join the podcast.
Talked about a psychic octopus. It's a psychic octopus.
I'm dying.
It's a different level.
Muting my mic because I'm coughing with laughter so much. Oh Jesus! Okay.
When the argument ends with "I talked about a psychic octopus," you know there is some.
Oh, this is not Neil's week. Anyway, let's cruise on in and smoothly transition into the match review. Neil, why don't you take your mind off things by telling us about your man of the match during the Malmö Norrköping game?
All right, I'll have to forget my sea creatures for the evening. So my man of the match is Nanasi. It was my first chance to see him proper have a run at it. He started this week, didn't he? He hasn't always started this season, I believe. So I thought he was really silky, really fun to watch. To be honest, I thought all of the Malmo front line were really fun to watch. Against a reasonable opposition as well. But Nanasi, for me, I just thought he was
immaculate
really
technique
good fun on the ball. Yeah,
it's like immaculate technique. It was a good game for dribblers for watching people running with the ball. You had Nanasi, who was superb. You had Taha Ali when he came on. We'll talk about him, I guess, in a little bit as well. And Kazani for Norrköping as well. He was a really interesting dribbler. Like, he's recently recovered from a brain tumor. That's why he was wearing the helmet.
It's wild. Yeah. Like it's massive Jonas Gutierrez vibes with him. Like he does. Unfortunately, I get a bit confused watching him because it looks like Petr Cech's been moved up front. But yeah, obviously now I know the reason. I feel a bit guilty about making Petr Cech jokes about him. But
I wouldn't. He was Andy, you made your highlight of the week was a dead man earlier. So
not dead.
We know your level.
Not dead. Sorry. Disclaimer: Oscar Lenia is not dead. But yeah, Kazani, he made a massive difference for Norrköping. He was sensational.
And my favorite technique is very, very interesting. I think I know what you're going to talk about here.
Go on. My favorite part. I bet it was your favorite part too.
Yep.
When he absolutely turned Pena and made him look like a drunk man staggering out of a bar, which is quite,
he just sent him drink driving over the other side of the stadium.
Yeah, exactly. sent him to his car after a few too many. Oh god, we joked about dead people and drink driving. This is an interesting conversation. But yeah, no, he was brilliant, and he absolutely turned Pena on his head, sent him shopping, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, his dribbling style is so unconventional. It's very untrained. It's similar to that of the Napoli player Kvaratskhelia. You know the guy?
Who?
Kvaratskhelia.
Oh,
Kvaradona. Kvaradona.
Have you been taking too many Russian lessons at the moment, Mike?
A little bit.
Easy as a spy.
Yeah, we've got to bring down Putin somehow. No one else is doing it.
You're going in from the inside.
But yeah, he was essentially Gary Goals of the lower division.
Gary
lower divisions
Goals.
in Stockholm. Gary Goals.
Honestly,
but he was scoring
Stockholm
like 35
a
season.
Goals.
No. But he scored a lot of goals lower league. Got the move to Norrköping. Unfortunately, he's had a brain tumor. But I mean, he is an exciting player to watch, and I hope he plays a lot more this season.
Yeah, no, he was really good. What about you, Mike? Who was your man of the match or player of the match?
Well, I think I would agree with Neil and saying Nanasi, but also Hugo Larsson for me was just superb. He had so much composure, and he's playing like he looks like a 30-year-old, like experienced holding midfielder in the way he controls the match and ties everything together. And he never looks under pressure.
A 6-year-old's body.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I think he's quite a big fellow already. What is he? 18?
Yeah, I think he's 18, and So
he's going to be
Jude Bellingham in the build.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, true. No, he was really good. I think my man of the match was old Cornelius, the centre back from Malmo. I mean, obviously there were a lot of attacking treats on display, but Cornelius was dominant at the back. He was Sol Campbell-esque. Sorry, yeah. Just trying to see how many Arsenal Tottenham references we can squeeze into a Swedish football podcast. But he was dominant.
You even started talking about Jonas Gutierrez just rubbing the Newcastle thing earlier as well. Starting to have enough.
That's for our friend Ali, But he was brilliant. He was absolutely dominant. He won pretty much every aerial duel. His distribution was good. He didn't seem bothered, and Malmo had a very clear game plan, which the manager basically told everyone at the beginning. We're just not going to let Sigurdsson get the ball. And every time he did get the ball, there were two Malmo players there directly, and it worked. They asked Rydström before the game, and they said, "Oh, Sigurdsson, how are you going to contain him?" And he went, "Well, hopefully he'll just have to run around after the ball," and that's exactly what happened. So fair
and
play.
Cornelius dominated every time he got
Yeah.
near him as well.
Although
and
he did have a little bit of a Sergio Busquets moment at the end, which kind of soured his performance a little bit, where he flopped in the box at the end, like the 90th minute. I don't think he was trying to win a penalty. I think he was just trying to waste time. But he flopped down. There was a little bit of handbag swinging, and then you saw him like facing hands, like just cheekily having a cheeky little look, which almost took him out of my man of match consideration. But I thought it was, we'll let it slide. But yeah, game was wrapped up by then. So
back on Sigurdsson, at 1-0 just after half time, Norrköping were in the ascendancy for a little bit, and he had a really good opportunity to get a shot off and probably score from that. And he fumbled it a little bit. And then just straight after that, there were substitutions made for Norrköping, and it changed the game.
Yeah, well, the manager I thought he put another left back on to play at right back.
Yeah, he did. But he put on another left back, and then I think it almost looked like he moved the right winger to right back, and then abandoned that quickly after what happened.
Yeah, because he got done for the Vecchia goal about 1 minute after he came onto the pitch, I think.
Yeah.
So
absolutely spun.
Yeah.
But it's weird because Norrköping actually, they were in the ascendancy at the beginning of the second half, and if he'd have just stuck with it, I think maybe they could have grabbed a goal somehow.
Yeah, it was a classic case of overthinking the management decision. Although, I mean, he did start a centre mid at right back. But yeah, I mean, I was a little bit disappointed with Norrköping, to be honest. I mean, I know they had a decent spell in the second half, but I thought I expected a little bit more from them, considering Bromma gave Malmö a run for their money.
But I think it shows the dominance of Malmö. So you've got Sigurdsson, who's like often talked about as sort of the star of the league, effectively.
Yeah,
most key passes, best dribbling.
Exactly. But I think in that match, Christiansen, Larsson, Nanasi, Thelin, and Ali were all better than Sigurdsson.
Right.
And I don't know if that's because Sigurdsson's overhyped or because they did a good job defensively on him. But I still think. You think so?
Yeah, because I mean, he didn't have his best game. I know he came in, he was carrying a little bit of a back injury, and then he got absolutely clattered quite early.
Oh yeah, in the fifth minute, I think it was.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think it put him in that Malmö team, and it's 8-0. So yeah, it's interesting. But let's not gloss over Taya Ali's little cameo. Tell me you play futsal without telling me you play futsal. That finish was naughty. It was absolutely sensational.
The whole goal was an absolute work of art as well. It was Larsson passed it around the corner. Reeks did a back heel to Taha Ali. He gets through, and that sideways drag was sensational. Like a little fake shot, drags it sideways. Beautiful.
It was really, really nice. Very nice. But
I can imagine to sum up the game. Oh, sorry, were you going to add something?
That's right. I was just going to say, I can imagine if the teammate, like if that doesn't pay off, like it's one the manager would be quite annoyed about, and those sort of things, and the teammates.
100%. But
also, in this match, it was kind of
he's made it to our Instagram reels. So congratulations, Ali.
Yeah. Also, I was going to say in this match there was kind of the battle of the brothers a little bit. You had Cisse versus Cisse playing brothers. First start of the season for Joseph, the Malmo one. His brother Jesper has been quite good this season for Norrköping since moving from AIK. And the good Johnson brothers were on the bench as well. Andre came on for Norrköping, and Daniel's on the bench for Malmo. So it's a family affair.
They've got good genes, those good Johnsons, haven't they? They seem to be doing all right. Icelandic genes. Anyway, to summarise the game, Malmö walked away with a 3-0 victory and looked very convincing in doing so. And let's hope that Sigurdsson's back to his best next week because he's a fun player to watch. Let's move on to the mighty Hammarby against Varberg's boys, which unfortunately I didn't get a chance to review this week because, Mike stole it from me.
You're not allowed.
Yeah. But Mike, you watched that game. What were your thoughts?
Fat Klopp, Joachim Persson, the Varberg manager, was no longer wearing a cap, so he looks a little bit less like Jurgen.
No,
But I can understand why. Yeah, I know it's unfortunate, isn't it?
I mean, that's like 90% of the reason to watch Varberg's boys is to see
Yeah.
Fat Klopp.
Yeah. Also, last week you said you couldn't really understand what you're saying, and same. He was. I didn't get it. It sounded a bit like sort of South Park doing Bob Dylan, a little bit like.
So Mike, you're already not welcome in Gothenburg, and now you just offended the entire Skåne county.
But it was a really good analogy. It did sound a bit like South Park.
Yeah.
But I also knew that he was trying to do like some sort of Skånsk accent, so it was brilliant. Yeah. I like it. Well done.
South Park doing Bob Dylan.
Love it.
But also, so the game, Dovin produced an absolutely world-class save on the 35th minute. It's kind of David Seaman versus Sheffield United FA Cup semi-final vibe. He kind of goes all the way across the goal and pulls it out and pushes it around. But
it was brilliant.
It happened just after he let the ball through his hands and almost let
That's what I was
going to
say.
In the net. So very hot and cold,
hilarious.
Dovin.
Yeah, because it's difficult because, I mean, he's for me, the second best or sort of top three goalkeeper in the Allsvenskan. He is a very good shot stopper. His distribution is actually really, really high level as well. But yeah, he has a little bit of a mistake in him. That tame effort that he kind of just fluffed onto the crossbar. He did definitely redeem himself for that save, but it's weird because watching Allsvenskan is an absolute roller coaster because 1 minute you see these world-class saves, the next minute you see errors. I think Dovin has 2 of the worst errors this season, goalkeeper errors. I would say that the Bromma keeper has the other 8, but R.I.P. Sorry, not dead. But he also has 2 of the top 5 saves this season, Dovin. So it is
maybe even
a roller coaster.
Maybe even the majority of them. Like he can pull off these absolutely otherworldly saves. But I have a little bit of a conspiracy theory around his pretending the ball's a penalty spot incident. Maybe he was just trying to get his name out there, because he was all over social media, all over English social media. He was even mentioned on a few British podcasts.
What?
So it could have just been a really good guerrilla marketing tactic to get his name out there across Europe, because it doesn't look like he should be making that kind of mistake. He's far too good for that.
Yeah.
That is a great conspiracy theory and one that I can definitely buy into as a closet Hammarby fan.
You're not in the closet though, are you, Andy? You're far from the closet. You've come out of that closet. You've got changed. You've got changed 14 more times. You've showed it to the whole street. Look at the color of that room you're in. It's leprechaun green, Andy.
Yeah, you've just bought a green bike. When I was there the other day, you had all these green tubs of paint around the house.
I'm sure he showed me a SketchUp of a tattoo he was going to get as well the other day, and it was decidedly green with some little flags on it. I don't know.
Oh dear.
You've been singing a lot of Kempter songs as well.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're no closet fan, Andy. You're no closet fan.
But yeah, the rest of the game. Hammarby score 38th minute just after that Dovin save. But in the build-up, Simon Strand absolutely levels a Varberg defender who's going on his way to close down Mikkelsen, who's dribbling down the right-hand side.
It was
just absolutely
a sensational basketball screen. Honestly, Neil, you would have actually quite enjoyed it. It was a proper pick and roll. Shaquille O'Neal is the screener, and he just absolutely levels him. It was brilliant. Borderline interference, but with
VAR that wouldn't be given.
No,
yeah,
there are advantages and disadvantages with no VAR, isn't there? Really?
Yeah, exactly.
But also, my man of the match would be Djukanovic. He was superb all game. He scored just after half time. Beautiful curling,
it was a great finish,
Perez-esque. Another Arsenal reference. Curling into the top corner. Absolutely great. But we saw him at the Svenska Cupen match against AIK, and he absolutely stank the place out when we went to see him live.
Awful.
But this game he was a different player. But he was my man of the match.
One of our other listeners was wondering, they sent us a DM, they were quite interested to see how Simon played.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Techie. He was...
Mr. Techie, yeah.
Yeah, he was good. I mean, he's always playing at quite a high standard, but they move him around a lot.
Okay.
He's played right wing, left wing, central midfield. The thing with Hammarby, right, is they make a lot of adjustments in terms of player position between each game. And if they just had a set structure, I reckon the players, because a lot of creative, a lot of very technical players, they would be able to improvise a lot better. And if they're moving around all the time, it sometimes can look a bit disjointed. And they've really got to find out what is Techie's best position. Personally, I think it's in centre midfield, but
it's number 8. Yeah, box to box. It's almost like Hammarby think they are Man City, but just without the depth of Man City. Because trying to move pieces around. But I think I couldn't figure out, because I also watched this game, of course. I couldn't figure out whether Varberg's boys were just that bad or Hammarby were just that good, because it was so smooth. I mean, I was worried it was going to get a bit Spurs Newcastle at one point, but
I can't wait. I can't wait for the first podcast after you're second in the league. I can't wait. I can't wait for it.
Anyway, let's move on. Thank you for that wonderful review. Let's move into Degerfors against the Elves, the Doughy Rapids against the Elves. Neil, you had a little cheeky look at this one, didn't you?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the Good Johnsons earlier. Well, the Elfsborg Good Johnson got a couple of goals in this game. First one, he's brushed off Lagerbielke on a through ball. I think the defender should have done better, to be fair. They just poked it in. Quite a clinical finish. I quite appreciated it, as much as it's not one of those goals you'll watch back in wonderment of, but I don't know. It was just a nice little poked finish.
Right. It's a goal a striker would be proud of.
Yeah. And then the second goal that's been given to him, I thought that someone else had scored it. But so he heads it off the bar and it bounces off the line, I thought. And then one of his teammates jumps in and heads it in the back of the net. But actually, the goal's been given to Good Johnson anyway. I guess it went over the line in the first place. In the middle of that, there was a nonchalant equaliser by Pavlovic. I think it was a half volley from outside the area. It's just sort of, I don't know. It's one of those ones where you hit it, and as soon as you hit it, it's flying in.
So crisply struck.
Yeah, it was very clean.
To be fair, Pavlovic has had a lot of practice kicking people.
Yeah,
maybe it's helping his football.
Yeah, there were a few more chances for Aylesbury to extend the lead, but it finished 2-1. One talking point from the game, however, was that there was a yellow card after 10 seconds for Gravius of Degerfors. I thought that's new. That was really, really quick, that one. Unusual for a referee to pull out the yellow.
Tell us if that's the fastest yellow card in the history of Allsvenskan for next week's podcast.
Oh, yeah, I need to look that up. But what I'm wondering is if it was the same ref from our game of the week last week. He was giving all those yellows at the beginning. I wonder if it's the same guy.
I don't know all of the players in the Allsvenskan yet. I certainly don't know what the program leaders are called on Discovery Plus, and I definitely don't know what the refs are called yet.
There's one ref that I recognise, and he's the most immaculately groomed man on this planet.
Yes, no, that's fine. Yeah. Nice. So anyway, it finished 2-1, is that correct?
2-1. 2-1 to Elfsborg. One of our Hilmer, one of our listeners, decided that we should call them the Alfs Fort from now on.
Yes.
Instead of just the Alves.
Yeah, I like it.
That's what they'll be forever known as, the Alfs Fort.
It's so fun naming teams that have already had names for centuries. But the Alfs Fort. My favourite moment in this game, because I had a little cheeky look at this on the highlights, and my favourite moment was the stadium. Honestly, I've never seen a weirder stadium in all my years watching sort of top flight football.
Is it a temporary stadium?
I don't know. The grandstand that the camera was facing looked like it was just like propped up for some kind of like school performance. And then on one corner, you had like what looked like a James Bond style decking at the back of a house. It looked like someone who had sold Bitcoin at the right time just decided to just chuck up a house with a massive deck right by the stadium because they're massive Kalmar fans. I'm not sure Wait, no,
Degerfors
Degerfors fans. Sorry, wrong part of Sweden. But yeah, and then on the other end, in the other corner, there was looked like a kebab restaurant, and there were about 150 people sitting outside in the sunshine, like ordering Yanni's hot dogs and watching the game. It was very, very odd, but I quite appreciated it. I think we're going to have to give that stadium a visit at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but I watched the Bromma game, and behind the goal, you could see a lot going on, just like in the Degerfors Stadium. And I actually saw a lady take a dog out the boot of her car and take it away from the stadium for a little walk.
I think, look, this is sounding better and better. I think the next game we go to is a Bromma Poikina home game. We can go for a little bounce on the bouncy castle. We can take a dog for a walk.
It wasn't there last time. It wasn't there.
No!
Yeah, no, yeah. It looks like Melbury must have taken the bouncy castle away because obviously it must be like a punishment for the last, they lost 5-0 to the Elfsfort.
So if they lose, did they take the bouncy castle away from the kids? Is that what you're saying?
From the players.
Maybe.
I mean,
Hold on.
That's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
They all look about 12.
Hold on, I have a theory. What if the bouncy castle is Oscar Lania's bouncy castle? And they've benched him, and he's gone, all right, fuck you guys. I'm taking my bouncy castle with me.
Is that his version of? Is that his version of? It's my football, and if I can't play, nobody can play. Is that what he's doing?
I think so.
That's exactly it.
Anyway, as you already mentioned, Kalmar, Andy, should we talk a bit about the Kalmar-Halmstad match, maybe?
I just got to get the bouncy castle off
to
my
get
mind,
away from the bouncy castle.
Right. There was no bouncy castle at the Kalmar-Halmstad game, but there was a lot of good football. However, the Kalmar announcer might be the single most extroverted person in the whole of Sweden. He sounded like, Bruce Buffer, but on acid. He was absolutely up for it. The only issue was the 5,000 people at the Guldfågel, the yellow bird arena.
Golden Chicken Arena.
Yellow Chicken Arena. They didn't really match his energy. So he was like, and then you'd hear like a polite round of applause in the background. But yeah, anyway.
Sorry, is it actually called the Golden Fogel Arena?
Yeah. Guldfågel, the people that make the chicken.
The chicken brand?
The chicken people.
No, that's not called that.
It is.
Oh, that might be better than the Friends Arena. Nobody told me about this. Nobody told me about this one.
Yeah.
Are you joking?
They've got to go to the Golden Chicken. They've got to get something. And back to your Kevin Keegan reference earlier.
Imagine in England, say Arsenal got a new sponsor and they went, okay, you're going to be called the Bird's Eye Arena. You wouldn't have, what are you doing?
You'd be having none of it. Oh, God. The Goldbird Arena. Love it. But yeah, I mean, it was sensational. The Kalmar manager, Henrik Jensen, is Danish, but he just happens to be the first Danish person I've ever understood in my entire life. So I found that quite helpful. So thank you, Henrik. Otherwise, I would have been absolutely lost. There's quite a few Danes in the Allsvenskan. When they interview them in Swedish, then they reply in Danish. And it's like, well, okay. Yeah, anyway.
That whole transaction, I don't understand. Because the Norwegians also speak Norwegian back to them, and they're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
How's
it's almost like when an Irish person comes to England and talks to you, and you have to just pretend you know what they're saying.
Yeah. But I went to Copenhagen once thinking, this will be fine. I'll speak Swedish to the person behind the counter. And they replied to me. And honestly, I've never been so disappointed in both myself and the Danish language. I think he literally asked me if I wanted a plastic bag, and I didn't have a clue what he was talking about. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm wearing a Christiania shirt to just go back to that Danish reference there, repping FC Christiania.
Sensational. Last time I was in Copenhagen, we hired this little bike with the trolley on the front. All the Danes seem to have. And cycled around Copenhagen. And my wife thought it'd be a great idea to cycle through Christiania with our 6-year-old and 8-year-old. I can say that it wasn't a good idea, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody else.
I know you're not allowed to run in that place. Are you allowed to ride a bike?
Well, we had to get off the bike and park it up and then lock it up. And then the man was like, let's just take a walk around. And I was like, yeah.
Maybe she was after something else.
Maybe,
Who knows?
maybe. But anyway, back to the game. I think the main headline from this game is Rajovic. He was an absolute beast. He scored 2 goals and absolutely dominated the Kalmar centre halves. It was quite funny though. Halmstad have a right back called Phil Afusu Ai.
He's a good player.
His name. He's great,
He's a good player.
but he has the single shortest pair of shorts in all of football. Honestly, it makes Jack Grealish's shorts look like he's part of the Harlem Globetrotters, and one mixtape style. And he's got the low socks and non-existent shin pads, and he's built like an absolute tank. And then next to him, you've got 41-year-old bald super Swede. What's his name? Andreas Jönsson. Johansson. And they just look like such a juxtaposition. Great word for you there, Swedes. And he's absolutely, it's just hilarious because you can see them two in the changing room, and Phil's putting on his cardboard shin pads and rolling his socks down, and you could see the little 41-year-old Johnson sitting there going, "Oh my god, I don't get it." Like,
he's still screwing his studs on those bottom of his boots.
Exactly. Oh dear. But yeah, no, it was good. Both good players though, and Halmstad gave a fair account of themselves, but Kalmar were very good. I think top 4 is pretty much guaranteed if they continue the way they go. They look very, very good. Halmstad could have scored in the first 10 minutes, but it was too bad. It was a 1-1 against the world's greatest goalkeeper, I nearly said, but Allsvenskan's greatest goalkeeper, Friedrich, who's a favourite of this podcast as well. He did have a moment in the second half where it kind of felt like he wanted to spice things up a little bit. He loves he loves a bit of a Fabian Barthez rush out of your goal clearance. He got it wrong this time, but it almost looked like he did it on purpose because he's so cool, calm, and collected. And then the ball fell to a Halmstad player and he fluffed it. But he was also made some good saves, especially for the 1-1. That was sensational. My highlight of this match was actually watching Simon Skrab play. Because, when you hear that a guy is playing and his name is Skrab, you expect it to be like a big, burly left back from Stoke-on-Trent. But this guy is silky smooth. He's so fun to watch.
I really like him. I pointed him out before.
Brilliant.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he went straight into my fantasy team after this week, and he's so much fun to watch. Like, he's so much fun to watch. I was not expecting him to be Finnish. He didn't look like a sauna and vodka guy, but he was apparently he's Finnish. He absolutely ended Swedberg's career at one point with an outrageous bit of skill. He nutmegged him, set up an attack. It was filthy, but it was quite impressive. And Kalmar, 2 goals from Rajovic, who is he came. Yeah, I heard he came from the Danish second division. Right, he scored 9 goals in 15 games there, and now he looks so at home in the Allsvenskan. He had obviously first game, Neil, you called out. He was sort of not really. He was having a bit of a moan, wasn't he? But now he looks like a force. He's a big physical dude, and Kalmar remind me a little bit of Mourinho's Chelsea. You got the best goalie in the league at the time was Petr Cech. You got Rajovic. You got solid back 4. Kalmar not going to let in many goals, and then you got Rajovic, aka Didier Drogba, dominating people up front, and Skrab is like a little Finnish Iron Robin, just to cut in from the other side. But Kalmar are a fun team. I think they're going to do really well this year. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about Mike's favourite team in the entire world, Gothenburg versus Animal Park. Did you watch this game, Mike?
No, Neil had this one actually, but I did. I had an eye on it. I just want to say, in the build-up to this game, Discovery Plus were doing all sorts of weird things. They were calling this Gothenburg's Skräckarinen, which is like horror stadium, and they were putting on these graphics of like lightning in the sky. What happens to Gothenburg in the stadium? Has a player gone up to take a free kick and his leg's just gone flying off? Was there some sort of outbreak in the Gothenburg dressing room? They all started biting each other and coming out. What happens in this? Why is it the Skräckarinen? They were really pushing that line. But yeah,
maybe Voldemort turns up every now and again when they come to play.
I mean, to be fair,
Sure.
Gothenburg have been so god awful this year. They had to do something in the build up. Discovery Plus, love a little documentary. There's probably not a lot to talk about now. So yeah, the Skrek Arena, love it.
Yeah, so it's so to talk about the game, it was two giants of the Allsvenskan, one shit match, basically. So yeah, I mean, if we talk about it, it was fairly dominant from Djurgården and their 24 shots to Gothenburg's 5. The actual goal itself came from Findell, but once again, it was a really bad mistake from the goalie. He's come out to a cross and he's punched it 20 yards in the air and it's landed in the penalty box to Djurgården players and put it in the back of the net. It's just every week there's goalkeeping errors all over the place. And then, but actually, like with Gothenburg's 5 shots, I think they had 2 of the best chances of the match, like 2 basically one-on-one chances. I think one was Olsen and the other one was maybe Hagen that had the chances, and they really should have scored, but they didn't. So the game ended 1-0 to Djurgården. Anders Trondsen got a red card in the 99th minute just to make it that little bit worse for Gothenburg. And
Pure relegation behaviour.
They are going down, like Mike predicted. Quite a strong prediction. We all were a bit shocked, but it looks that way.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
you're gonna get credit for it. For sure.
Just going over the stats in this game, like Gothenburg had 0.4 xG and Djurgården had 2.54. So it could have been a 3-0. It could have been.
Just tells me that the XG is absolute nonsense, though, because the 2 chances that Gothenburg had were absolute clear chances, and there's no way they can get a 0.4 out of that.
Yeah, they've got listed as 1 big chance, and I don't know.
That's nonsense.
Yeah,
they're struggling now. Have they scored this year?
No. Oh, wait, no, they haven't.
Jesus,
Barry scored an own goal.
Yeah, four games in, no goals scored.
Proper relegation behaviour right there.
Anyway, talking about giants of the Allsvenskan.
What's that?
Shall we move on? I was saying, talking about the giants of the Allsvenskan, shall we move on to Häcken Sirius, maybe?
Let's do that. BK Bush, how did they get on?
Yeah, I had this FC John McEnroe, aka IK. Are you serious?
What?
IK John McEnroe.
You cannot be serious.
I think we got a new name, guys. John McEnroe FC, maybe.
Yeah. John McEnroe FC. That's it.
Let's go for it. That's good. God.
Yeah. AKA, are you serious? Yeah. Last year, this game finished 4-3. So, I mean, there was history of a lot of goals in this fixture. But Sirius are missing a ton of key players. I think they're missing about 7 players that could be in their first team. And they were talking on the commentary about how that pitch is a bit of a troublesome pitch. A lot of injuries happen there. Maybe it's a Skrek Arena of its own. But talking about Skrek Arenans, our favourite right back, Velgir, was back haunting the right hand side of the pitch. Like
my guy.
Yeah. He was outstanding, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm going to dress up as him for Halloween. I feel like that's my costume. Son of Lurch.
But he was so good. He's so good. I think because he looks so peculiar, if that's the right word. It kind of goes under the radar actually how good he was. He had 4 interceptions, 8 recoveries, 100% aerial duels won, and I mean this guy he could play at a really high level and not look out of place.
Yeah.
But my real man of the match would be Lars, the son of Lars.
Oh,
Lars Larsson.
Lars' son.
Yeah, he absolutely dominated the first half. And when the first goal came, no surprises that he was involved. He headed the ball across the box after one of those, again, like Gustavsson with his beautiful long balls. Yeah, and Udenas finished in the edge. Oh, God. I've lost the words here. What do you call the side of the box? Anyway, back post. There you go. Back post.
Back post.
Headed into the back post. Tornander, the Sirius goalkeeper, looks exactly like a young King Charles. And complete with FA Cup ears and everything.
No.
Yeah, it's uncanny.
Oh, fantastic. I'm going to have to Google him.
Yeah, and the second goal was a decent strike from Regard outside the box. You could have sent he he sent his regards to the bottom corner.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yep, but he's a good player.
Awful.
Also, Sirius brought on a player called Solicify in the second half, which just sounds like an online platform for solicitors.
I thought you were going to say soliciting then. I thought we were on a whole different sort of podcast. Okay.
New for Solicify. Do count. Log it in. Solicify.
Mike.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Benny Traore got a last minute penalty to put some gloss on the season. It's another goal for him. He's up there with old Smooches McGee, your favourite there, Andy.
Smooches.
Yeah.
So is it a 2-horse race already?
I think maybe, but I think Kalmar might be the third horse.
Unfortunately, Mjällby did lose this weekend. The mighty Dandruff Village.
Yeah.
Oh dear, but BK Bush bounced back in a big way, and Sirius aren't a bad team, as you say. They're a bit depleted, but good result for Häcken. I watched the Värnamo AIK game, which I was not super excited about, but actually turned out to be a great game. Unfortunately, Discovery Plus made me watch like a half-hour documentary on Simon Turn before the game. But when it got to the game, I saw the Värnamo still can't play on their home ground. They had to play 110 kilometers away in Borås.
What?
Yeah, their home game was 110 kilometers away.
This is like Reading playing in like
in
Birmingham.
the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's madness, and it's due to the pitch being too bad. So they haven't been able to play there all season. So there's another team that can't fill half their stadium because it's not completed. Their pitch is too bad. This is proper Sunday League level stuff, but it's it kind of keeps you on your toes. You know what I mean? But the AIK fans travelled really well. It felt like an AIK home game. There was only 1,400 people in attendance, but I would say at least half of them took the 4.5 hour, 400-kilometer journey to sing 90 plus minutes of songs throughout the game. They were fantastic. It felt like a home game. Unfortunately, the same AIK team that disposed of Hammarby quite comfortably couldn't figure out Värnamo. Now, Värnamo are probably my favourite team to watch in Allsvenskan, and I never thought I'd say that. They are such a weird team, right? So they have, I saw the stats, so they have the first in touches in the offensive third and second in touches in the penalty box, but they've only scored 2 goals this season, and both of them were own goals, so they've really scored none. Yeah, bit odd. I suppose it doesn't help when you sell your top goal scorer who scored 20 goals last year, Antonsson. Of course, I didn't know who that was. I had to look this up. But
where did he go? Where did he move?
Got sold to Saudi Arabia, so he's probably doing quite well for himself right now. And he has 5 goals in 9 games, so he's doing all right. But it was
Cristiano Ronaldo levels.
What's that?
Cristiano Ronaldo levels.
Yeah, exactly.
Saudi League.
It seems like it was only a matter of time before Värnamo got ticking, and they played really well. It was a little bit like watching Arsenal. There was no long balls at the back. It was Aaron Ramsdale spreading passes through the midfield, which is odd when you have 6'5" Hampus Näsström, who actually looks like he just ate Peter Crouch. But he was.
I'm both laughing at your joke about him eating Peter Crouch and your pronunciation of his name. Both were equally hilarious.
Poor Peter Crouch. But Peter Crouch has been reincarnated to a centre midfielder in the Allsvenskan, and he's got the technique of Peter Crouch. He's handy.
Peter Crouch actually played in Allsvenskan.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the beginning of his career. He was on loan there. Yeah.
Was he actually in Allsvenskan, or was he just at a Swedish team? I'm not sure they were in Allsvenskan.
Oh, it could have been Superettan. Could have been Superettan.
It's definitely a team
he's back anyway, and he's playing centre mid for Värnamo. But AIK barely got on the ball. They were played off the park for the first 35 minutes. Ended 1-0 with a sensational 62nd minute screamer from Johansson. It was a reverse Iron Robin style, cutting in from the left and smashing it in. But my sort of the thing I noticed most about this game was Werner's Brazilian right wing back, Natinho. Now, he looked bright, but he's in desperate need of a trip to Turkey so we can fix his barnet. Because, I mean, I can say this because I made that decision, Natinho. It's time, mate. I'm sorry. I saw pictures of myself in a swimming pool one time and went, oh, yeah, it's time. I'm telling you, mate, it's time. I'm sorry, but you've had a great run. So it's time to shave it off. Or you can negotiate that into your next contract, and a trip to Turkey. But anyway, poor Natinho.
I can make him a wig out of mine. I've got a few ones.
Oh, show off. Jesus.
Me and Andy are in the queue for your locks first, man.
Right, exactly. Get to the back of the queue.
I'm
having
start a bidding war.
Yeah.
But yeah, Werner 1-1-0. And yeah, can we just, try and get Werner to get names on the back of their kit, because it's quite disappointing. They're too good to not have their names on the back of the kit. So yeah, let's sort that out, Werner, because you guys were quite fun to watch. Oh,
talking of no names on the back of the. Oh yeah. Sorry.
One last thing, Victor Fischer, AIK's big signing, he missed an absolute sitter. It was a tap in. I could have rolled my grandma through the penalty area and she would have knocked it in. I swear, it was awful. But yeah, so AIK lost, and we still don't know if they're A-OK or not okay.
Do you think maybe Gothenburg and AIK or AIK, or depending on what we want to say, are going to go down this year? I think that'd be amazing.
Gothenburg.
I think Gothenburg is written in.
Yeah, but maybe both of them do. Maybe AIK and Gothenburg go.
That would be crazy.
Nah, no chance. No chance. That's like Tottenham getting relegated.
They were under Juan de Ramos, weren't you, almost?
No more Tottenham jokes. Anyway, we've got to move on. Mike, you had the final game of the week, which was the mighty Mjällby against the boys from Bromma. How did that go?
Yeah, the Bromma Brigadiers and Dandruff Village. As you mentioned, with with there being no names on the back of the shirt for Werner Mo, neither of these teams had names on the back of their shirts, and that kind of tells you about the standard of the game. It was
so neither deserved to win, basically.
Well, actually, Bromma were quite good. Oscar Pedersen scored a really good goal, but
I thought that first goal was brilliant. The first goal was really clean.
Leathered it,
He's the
off the crossbar
guy,
as well.
Right?
He's the headband guy. Yeah, it just gives him an extra 5 skill, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
But it came off the crossbar, and when a shot like that goes in off the crossbar, it makes the goal 10 times better. It's
100%.
so satisfying to watch.
You should get extra points for it. Should be 1.5 goals for a crossbar and in.
Oh yeah.
Spice up the league a little bit.
Yeah. But as you mentioned, actually, in the beginning, and your highlight of the week, Bromma finally dropped their keeper and replaced him with a goalkeeper who I think was in the Bromma embryo team.
He's not dead. He's not dead. He's not dead. Stop playing that music.
Oh, I miss you, Oscar. Sorry.
He's not dead.
Composure.
Oh yeah, but their keeper, who they got from the one of the youth teams, one of the hundreds of youth teams that they have. He looked a million times more comfortable with the ball at his feet, and actually he made a couple of good saves. Mjällby left Otto Rosengren on the bench, who's he's recently been scouted by quite a few big European clubs, and he's been their best player this season. Left him on the bench and brought in another midfielder called Gustavsson. So then they had 2 central midfielders called Gustavsson, which then brings my overall Allsvenskan central midfielders called Gustavsson level number to 5.
Wow.
There might even be more. They also had 2 Johanssons
sensational
in the starting lineup. But yeah, it was quite a boring game. Also, for the first goal, back on that again, Oscar Pedersen's goal, it was a perfect through ball from a Mjällby player to Oscar Pedersen, who was called Arvid Bråson. So Arvid,
Nice.
brother's son, aka nephew Arvid. And he played him in. He had a
Nephew
stinker and got subbed at half time. But yeah, it was a bit of a boring match. Mjällby unfortunately lost. They're too good for that.
That's not second place form, Mjällby. Come on.
It's not.
The boys
No, they
from
got bucked their
Bromma.
ideas up. Yeah.
So Bromma got their first win of the season, first points of the season. Congratulations.
Yeah, cool.
But please, please, please bring the bouncy castle back for when we go watch them play at home. I will be thorough. I will turn around and just go home if it's not there.
Yeah. Or you can take your dog for a walk or something.
Yeah, it's true.
What games are we
right.
looking forward to next week then?
Game of the week next week. Well, it's an obvious game for me.
I'm taking that. No, stop.
What?
I'm taking Malmö Hammarby.
No.
Oh,
that's my
he's
game.
got that.
I'm officially a Malmö fan, apparently, and you are unofficially a Hammarby fan. So that gives me first choice, and also it's the what's the fuck is Allsvenskan derby, as Mike is not chosen a team yet.
Yeah. I'll support the ref.
Yeah.
Go Sports.
So it's a definite. So you're gonna have to choose another game, Andy. Sorry,
what?
got there first.
Oh, yep.
You snooze, you lose.
Yeah, bastard. Well, I mean, okay, I think we all know where this conversation is going, but I will check out another game there just for, just for sake of it. I want to see BK Bush against Värnamo because Värnamo look good. Let's see how they look against one of the big boys. And can their tiki-taka go around Värnamo, BK Bush? Mike, what's yours? Not that it really matters because I think we all know where this is going, but who would you choose?
Yeah. I would choose IFK Göteborg versus IFK Norrköping because I would like to see Sigurdsson bounce back to form with a nice first half hat trick and Gothenburg to lose again and not score a goal. Yep.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious where we're going. There is only one game we can watch next week, and it is, as Neil has called it, the what the fuck is Allsvenskan derby game. I do think we should put a little bit of spice into this. I'm intrigued. There must be some sort of bet or forfeit we can do for the winner.
Yeah, you have to wear a Spurs shirt if Malmö win.
No.
And Mike has to wear a Spurs shirt if...
What have I done?
There is no way I'm agreeing
win.
to this. Not a hope in hell because actually I don't. Neil, for the first time in his life, is going into a game as the expected winner. So
I think he just wants an Arsenal shirt from you.
Potentially,
maybe you should sign it as well.
I have an idea though. Let's leave it up to our wonderful listeners to go in, and if anyone has an idea of what sort of forfeit Neil or I could do if Malmö, if Malmö or Hammarby win, what sort of forfeit the loser can do. If you have any suggestions, let us know. And let's see where this goes. Neil, it's on like Donkey Kong, man. Well, thank you everyone for making it through another marathon episode of What the Fuck is Allsvenskan? My name's Andy Woodfine, and thank you. Good night. Have a great evening. Au revoir, bonsoir, bonne nuit, and all the other goodbyes I can think of. Thank you much. Oh, God.
Thank you much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Hey,
Bye.